Hi, Table Talk. Thank you so much for today. Today is Table Talk Community Mental Awareness. I hope everyone is safe. Everyone is washing their hands and wearing their mask because it is so important that we stay safe. Thank you, subscribers. I just noticed that our subscribers are just growing and growing, and I appreciate each and every one of you. It is so important that we stay aware of mental illness, that we start to detect early detections for mental illness, and we start to turn around the bad rating for mental illness. We don't want suicide rate to go up, we want it to go down. We don't want mental illness destructions and harmful of innocent people to go up. We want it to go down. I have a question today for one of the members, and they were interested in mental awareness and how to be aware of your mental illness. Now, a lot of this I can say from experience, and I'm gonna do a lot of the experience because when I went undiagnosed for years because I didn't understand my mental illness awareness. I didn't understand the symptoms. So being mentally aware, you are understanding the symptoms. The disease is kind of clear, I believe, because we know what bipolar is, for an example, and we know what is as a whole. But when you break it down into the symptoms, do you realize that bipolar is manicness, and it's manicness mixed with a certain type of depression? It's not mixed with just regular depression. It's mixed with a certain type of depression. And you have to understand anxiety. And anxiety, what does it do? So whatever it does is the symptom. That's what we're trying to bring into awareness. So when you start seeing your moods change and your behavior change, and you start to have irresponsible responses, because all of those work hand in hand. When you start to, for me, when I want to go back a little bit, I was undiagnosed for years. I had issues as a child, and as a child, your parents back in the 70s, your parents don't visit the doctor and find out what's wrong with you at a doctor. They just set you in a corner and isolate you and just say, don't mess with her. She's a special needs child. But as I grew up, I started having these behaviors. Like I was very wild, very angry. I was all over the place. I would just have outbursts. I would do things to just make people upset at me. I used to, at a young age, I used to rob individuals, and all just to embarrass my parents, make them come down to the police station, make them look real embarrassed. I would just be those type of things. I mean, those are just big things that you should really, really look at when your child is misbehaving at a young age. I mean, if your child is being very promiscuous at 9 and 10, you want to look at that and say something's going on. Your behavior is kind of imbalanced. So as I got older, I didn't get better, I got worse. I was a teenage mom at 14, teenage mom at 15, teenage mom at 17, and then a teenage mom at 23. So I had 4 children before I was 23. And nobody still is, bringing me to the physician to say, if it's not physical, then it might be mental. Nobody, and then let me add, mental illness back then too is not really highly talked about. Please don't talk about mental illness. I don't want to be labeled, but mental illness should be talked about just as much as physical doctors are addressing physical issues. I don't see anything wrong with if you have a mental illness. You didn't do this to yourself. This is just staying mentally healthy. This is, if you have an issue, why not see someone with a profession to help you with that issue instead of societal labels, set you aside and they isolate you and they make you feel like you can't do anything in life. That's not nice. So teenage mother of 4 children. As I get older, in my whole entire life was abusive relationships, in and out of abusive relationships. My behavior was imbalanced for years. I didn't start reaching out to the doctor until mid 40s. I started reaching out to the doctor to find out if it wasn't physical, then what was pretty much my symptoms. If I tell her what I'm doing, and misbehaving and having these outbursts and, wanting to, one minute I'm happy, the next minute I want to fight. One minute I'm happy, the next minute I'm jumping around and tearing up stuff and being destructive and, just having unprovoked anger. So this mental awareness is you doing a self-assessment of yourself. It's a deep scan of your brain for truth. That means you take the time to stop, look at your behavior, and start tagging what's going on with you. So if you have a lot of people, now this is also, I'm gonna bring to the surface. A lot of people say, when someone give me a trigger, that's when I'll have some sense of a mood swing or mood change or outburst. That too, but some cases you're gonna have that too, but some cases you're gonna have atmospheric change. Atmospheric change is you can wake up, you can just sit one moment and the next moment you are an angry soul. And the next minute you want to just harm someone, or the next minute, and it's no one's setting you off or no one's triggering you. You just had an unprovoked mood swing, unprovoked trigger, or unprovoked change in your behavior for the worst. So this is why we do mental awareness, because each person is different, number one. And we have to stop to take account of ourselves. So the next time it happens, I'm aware of it and I can tackle it with a positive practice or a positive antidote. So then, because the ultimate goal is I want a balanced mind. I want to work my job with a balanced mind and not worry about having some sense of a mishap or irresponsible response where I get fired, I lose my job, or anything of that nature. I want to have a balanced mind. So in order for me to have a balanced mind, I have to start making note of what goes on in my head. So that means my thought process has to be documented, my moods, my triggers, what makes me tick. Sometimes it's me alone. Sometimes it's individuals. And that's, for me as a person, I keep my surroundings in a setting where I don't put myself in a position where I have to have a trigger. Like if I know other people trigger me, I have to limit the people that surround me. And it's just the way you keep yourself safe. And there's nothing wrong with that. And to each his own. Each individual will come up with a way to better their lives and make themselves better. Sometimes you have to tell your families or your friends to give you a little bit of space. And it's not about them understanding. It's about you staying balanced. So mental awareness is more than just detecting, me stopping and making myself aware of what's going on to me. It's also me detecting and me applying when I get off balance. Because there's going to be a time I'm going to get off balance. I have to be prepared for those moments. I have to be prepared to see, how does my off balance look? Does my off balance look like, do I slam a door? Do I say something sarcastic? Do I do something irresponsible response by harming myself or harming others? We have to consider that, because then we have to put right there in that slot a positive practice or a positive antidote, so we don't do those things. Because irresponsible response, it is seen by others. So you don't want to have something outward, because if I see something outward, then I'm going to say, I don't think you can handle extra work because you are having a irresponsible response right now. So I don't want to give you extra work. That's an overdose. I don't see you as handling that, But some people, for me, I say to myself, I was like, I want my own business. I want to be able to handle employees. I want to be able to keep everything in place and be able to deal with my attorneys and my accountants and still have a balanced mind. Everything should be in, because it deals with responsibility. Too much responsibility can be a trigger. It can be an overdose. So that's why tapping into what goes on with you is super important. So that's what I wanted to see for mental awareness. Mental awareness is shining that light bulb on yourself. And once you shine it on yourself, you get to see you in a true light. That way you'll be able to say, I need work on this, I need work on that. So thank you so much for the question. I super appreciate it. Keep in mind, I like to say going forward, we are definitely doing a platform for Udemy. And we're going to be having some mental illness and behavioral health curriculum on the Udemy platform. And it's going to be probably within 30 days or less will be completed. But it's going to be a free platform. But that's just another way that we can tap into spreading this good news all over the globe. Thank you so much. And until then, stay healthy.